Is McCook in a recession? Well, the definition of a recession, many will tell you that if somebody else has lost their job, then that's a recession. If you lost your job, that's a depression. But it's a little bit more complicated than that out here in southwest Nebraska. Now, southwest Nebraska, that has 10,000 square miles, has 10,000 people. Of those 10,000 people, 7,000 live in McCook, Nebraska. You bet. In other words, we're basically the capital of southwest Nebraska, if you will. But even we are in a recession. The reasons are multiple, including high taxes and utilities, devastating. And we've also seen our local hose plant. It has laid off all of their temporary workers, and they've also laid off some of their full-time workers now, right here at the holidays. Then we have an irrigation manufacturer that, again, is slowed down. And we had a shoe manufacturer go out of business. You bet, they're done. And we've had numerous stores go out of business. One of the bigger ones, of course, was Alco. A giant discount store closed its doors. And, of course, we've had even restaurants going out of business, including some pretty powerful named restaurants like Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell is another example that when people aren't eating out as much, there's probably a reason for it. That's because the money just isn't there. And numerous young people and others tell me that they've gotten their hours cut. You bet. And compiled into that is that the oil companies have laid off a number of their crews and cut the hours from the people that they're still keeping hired from 60-hour weeks down to 30-hour weeks. Yeah, if you had your wage cut in half, would you go out and spend very much money? Hardly. Adding fuel to the fire, a third of the workforce of McCook works at or near minimum wage, with no hope of getting out of it to speak of. You see, that minimum wage that is paid today, some $9 an hour, give or take, is a devastating income compared to just 42 years ago when my wife and I were married. We made $2 an hour back then. But to have the same buying power of that $2, a present-day employee in McCook would need to make $60 an hour. Just to break even, not to be better off, just to break even with the same buying power that we had back then. That's a pretty good indication of why recession is here. And it's locked in for so many people because if they would work a second job or make some more money in one way or another, they'd automatically lose their food stamps, they'd lose their housing subsidy, they'd lose their health insurance. And so without question, they're not going to give that up. They're going to hang on to that for their own security, for themselves and their family, which means they're locked in poverty in McCook and a recession that will be generational and perhaps even depression down the road. As I tell everyone that I speak with, I tell them you better learn to live on less because the government wants more, the billionaires want more, and the bankers want more. And there's just so many pieces of the pie. Rate this film.